Hello, everybody. This is Sean Kalana, and I'm here to give a review of the movie The Hunger Games, based on the book by Suzanne Collins. The movie itself is a futuristic, post-apocalyptic movie based around a 16-year-old girl named Katniss Everdeen. There used to be 13 districts, however, the 13th decided to rebel against the Capitol, and the Capitol retaliated with pretty much blowing them up. So now there's only 12 districts. As a result, there was a Treaty of Treasons that was created by the president of the Capitol at the time, and he decreed that two tributes from each district of the remaining 12 would offer up a male and a female for the reaping to go into the Hunger Games. And the Hunger Games basically is 24 kids from the ages of 12 to 18 get put in, and only one comes out. The victor gets bathed in riches and food and everything that they would ever hope and want in life. The rest of their district also gets extra bonuses in food and rations, to where it's a privilege to come out of this alive, obviously, and you get everything you want as a result. The Hunger Games is a television show that's viewed across the nation in the world of Panem. It's a live television show based on the 24 tributes that got pulled from the reaping and gets put into this. There's limitless number of cameras that's throughout this arena that they get put in, and they get to pretty much fight to the death. Last one out wins. An amazing story. Even though the book was geared towards a young adult audience, the movie is as well. I'd probably tell the audience that a mature 11, 12, 13-year-old should have no problem seeing the movie. Anything younger than that, I don't think it's too appropriate for. Anybody older, obviously, would love it too. I mean, it's a great story, and it's not told in a cheesy way, and it doesn't have a whole lot of that, cheesy romance. That's what it turns out to be all about. So it's not about that at all, and the movie makes that pretty clear. There is not a whole lot of blood in this movie. They did a really good job, in a sense, beating around the bush around a lot of the violence, and most of it's implied and not on screen at all. So feel free and feel a little safe to allow your teenage kids to go see this movie. There's really not a whole lot of bad that's in it. There's no swearing. There's very little blood, and the reason why it's even PG-13 is just because of the nature of the film being kids killing other kids and what little violence that you actually do see on screen, which is very minimal. How they got away with the PG-13 MPA rating. The shaky camera out of focus. It seems really cheesy. I didn't necessarily like it and thought it was could have been done a lot better. If they filmed it exactly the way the book was, it would have got a R rating. And that's basically just because of how violent these sometimes can get when you're having kids kill other kids. It's understandable. However, I wish they would have went another route with it of actually filming as much as they could and then cutting it back to where the MPA would still give them that rating, opposed to going so safe right off the bat to where you knew that there was no chance of getting an R rating, and it just seemed like a really cheesy way out of it. And the cheesy shakiness of, oh my lord, it's someone's in the arena holding a shaky camera. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you're talking about it being filmed from the Capitol and on the TV show. There shouldn't have been a whole lot of shakiness. All their cameras were steady shots taken from different vantage points and angles. The acting. The acting is superb. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss definitely is going to hold these movies together. She did a phenomenal job. And a lot of it is just basically how much emotion she can derive from her character and be able to portray that on screen. I thought she did an amazing job. Her sister in the movie, Prim, played by Willow Shields, she sold to me that she was her sister. There was a goodbye scene that definitely was over the top emotionally to where it really gripped you, and to try and understand what she was actually doing for her sister at that time. was amazing. I mean, those two definitely had a connection, and it definitely portrayed on screen very well. Woody Harrelson as Haymitch. Obviously, anybody that's a fan of the books or have read the books was wondering about this one. It's one of the better characters in the novels, and you definitely wanted to make sure that it was going to get portrayed on screen very well. And even though it is a little subdued, Woody Harrelson's portrayal of Haymitch was pretty spot on and was solid. I mean, he provided the comical relief when needed. The two leads, Liam Hemsworth and Josh Hutcherson, they did a fine job. I like the casting of those two, despite what some people might say. They did a fine job in the roles that they played. Liam Hemsworth played Gale. His character wasn't featured all too much in the first novel and or the first movie now, so therefore he had a very limited amount of time on screen. However, he did pull off what he was supposed to. That they do have a connection with the main character Katniss. Peeta, played by Josh Hutcherson, did a fine job. I'll get in a little bit later to where what his character should have and should not have done, but that was more of a directorial dispute for me, more than his acting. Lenny Kravitz as Cinna, quiet and strong presence, but he did an amazing job. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything else that the book asked for his character, and he nailed it. Elizabeth Banks playing Effie Trinket. Now, anybody that's read the books also knows that her character was a little over the top, and she's from the capital, which definitely has that accent and the glamour and glitz of the high society. It was spot on. I mean, there wasn't anything else that you can ask for her character. The main one that everyone's going to be talking about is Stanley Tucci as Caesar Flickerman. Caesar Flickerman was amazing. He's the commentator and the interviewer for the tributes for the Hunger Games, and he did a phenomenal job. I mean, it was colorful. It was over the top. I mean, it was the game show host to the 10th degree, you know, and his color, his blue hair and everything, and his big teeth, and he did an amazing job. And as you watch the movie, I'm sure you will find out that any scene that he's in, he pretty much steals. I mean, hands down, he was one of the best actors in the movie. Other notable actors that's in the movie is Donald Sutherland playing President Snow. He did a good job. He was very quiet, very deliberate in what he said. He also had some scenes that was added in outside the book that I think he did very well in. And Wes Bentley playing Seneca Crane. He's the game maker, the head game maker that makes everything in the game and how he controls it all. And he did a very well job, and he had a lot of extra scenes that weren't in the book also. So kudos to both of them guys. They did a good job. I think the acting in this movie was pretty spot on and phenomenal from everybody. So you're not going to be short if you're going to see some good action and or some good acting. The look of the Capitol was amazing. It was big. It was grand. It had, you know, domes and waters and waterfalls and all that. And the inside of the houses and the hotel or whatever that they stayed in, I mean, it was amazing. I think they nailed it. They did what they were supposed to. You know, what was in the book was in the movie, which is always a nice thing. All right, so overall, the movie, I ended up rating this movie originally 7 out of 10. I thought it was good. It was solid, but there was a lot of things that it was kind of missing that I was hoping for, or dialogue that was just, you know, you needed in there, and it just wasn't. So it fell a little short to me at first. And I wasn't sure how much the audience would end up getting that hasn't read the book yet. So I ended up doing a 7 out of 10. However, I've now changed that to a 8 out of 10 because I have actually seen it with a bunch of people that didn't read the books, along with people that did read the books, and came up with a system of they rated it on average along with me 8 out of 10. They were able to follow everything. Everything was in there that needed to be to get an audience to know what was going on without reading the book. So I applaud them for that. I didn't know if they did that at first. Took me about the third time actually watching the movie to actually realize and kind of put my prejudices and expectations away and actually view the movie for what it is. And it actually seemed a lot better for me that way. Now for me to go off on a little tangent. I am not a big fan of scenes that's not in the book being filmed into movies. And by that I mean you have so much material in a book to choose from that a director would want to add in a scene that totally wasn't in the book to begin with and film it and make it into the film. Not a big fan. David Yates, I'm definitely talking to you with the Harry Potter series, you know. I think that kind of ruins it, and it does a horrible job. However, in this movie, The Hunger Games, because the movie does not take place in the first-person point of view from Katniss like the books do, that you kind of needed some outside scenes in order to help portray what is really going on in the world, not just in the arena or inside Katniss's head. And I think they actually worked, which is saying something for me. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it, but what they did do was amazing, and it was a great way to transcend the two different genres and make sure that it was, you know, what the audience was supposed to get out of it. Definitely the notable scenes that's different are the game room scenes that you see in the commercials even. It's a great way to show the audience of how much control the game makers actually have in the arena, in the Hunger Games, and how they, you know, kind of plot out what they want to show and what they want to do and how they're able to achieve it. I thought was a great way to show that. Other things that happened in the game that the audience wouldn't know, they were actually able to cut over to Stanley Tucci as Caesar Flickerman, and him to do commentary on it and kind of fill you in on, all right, well, if you don't know this, this is what this is, or this is what it means. And it was just a good way to cut in, but obviously it wasn't in the book. It wasn't written that way. It was definitely portrayed well in the movie, and that's what counts. That's what you needed. And what was needed was that, and they did a good job filming it, and it worked in the movie. So I can't say that I hold that against them like I do a lot of other things. So, you know, that was a good point, and there was lots of them. Thank you very much for listening to me rant and rave about one of my favorite books turned into a movie, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. So thank you very much. I'm Sean Clenna, and I'm out.